Nebraska, the good life. This is Drive Time Nebraska with Doug Fitzgerald on 1499.3 KLIN.
Well, it's been one of those days. Hearing about Jack Hoffman passing away it's just hard, you know. I know we're all feeling it, and none more than the family. So I want to pray for his family. Thoughts and our prayers with them. And you just think what they're going through. It's gut-wrenching. Today they announced that Jack had passed away with his battle with brain cancer, obviously, over 10 years. Emmanuel Lutheran Church in Hoffman's hometown of Atkinson confirmed the death today in a Facebook post. Said, quote, "God is summoned by our brother Jack Hoffman into eternal life in the glories of heaven. Blessed be his memory among us." I'm a person of faith. I believe in Jesus Christ, and obviously Jack did too. His family does. So it's sad on this side of heaven, but he's blessed on the other side with his dad. So visitation for Jack will be Friday from 5 to 8 at the church. The funeral service will be Saturday at 10:30 a.m. At Atkinson Community Center. Back in November, apparently the tumors came back, and I guess the hard part, I mean, it's all hard, is how fast, you know, it progresses, and it took him. And yeah, you know, I think of, everybody thinks of that iconic moment when he's 7 years old, running down this football field. I think Caleb Henry, former sports director here at KLN, put it best in his tweet. He said, "You can't talk about the greatest moments in Memorial Stadium, or I will add college football, and the great 2013 spring game and not be brought up. Jack Hoffman wasn't just one of us. His fight became the state's fight. As a Team Jack Foundation became a light for countless others, an immeasurable loss. Rest in peace." My adding to that, I think the country really rallied too. I think I saw ESPN did a piece, and yeah. So I'm just with this, I'm at a loss of words, other than just, I'm sad. I know everybody else is sad, and all of our best to the Hoffman family as they move forward. To lose Jack's dad and now to lose Jack is just unimaginable for those of us who have not experienced that type of pain. I know the entire staff at KLIN, our thoughts and prayers are with you.
Get the facts and stay ahead of the game.
I like to hear what's going on around the world.
Your trusted source for news and information. 1499.3 KLIN.
What has cancer taught me?
The sky is pink at sunrise.
Brave does not mean stoic.
Friends will fill your freezer.
And where I choose to go for my cancer treatment matters
A lot.
Anchored by the state's only NCI-designated cancer center, Nebraska Medicine Fred and Pamela Buffett Cancer Centers offer access to leading-edge research that results in life-saving clinical trials and treatment options. We have the most experienced cancer specialists in the state and provide a level of personalized care you won't find anywhere else, all dedicated to giving you the best possible outcome. Nebraska Medicine Fred and Pamela Buffett Cancer Centers, with locations around the state. Get a second opinion at nebraskamed.com/cancer.
Because at the end of the day, I want the best chance to be here for tomorrow.
Join Mark Patrick seminars. Lose the weight or stop smoking, guaranteed. Early bird special only $49.99. Seminar Wednesday, January 22nd at the Holiday Inn Lincoln Southwest in Lincoln. Weight loss seminar starts at 5:30. Registration 5. Stop smoking starts at 8. Registration 7:30.
Is foot, knee, hip, or back pain making your workday unbearable? Maybe you need high-quality support in your shoes. That's where the Good Feet store can help you, like Deidre and Tom.
The pain would shoot up my heels. I would tiptoe out of bed because my heels hurt so badly. When I went to the Good Feet store, they allowed me to try on the arch supports. I walked around and I started sobbing because I had no pain.
I work 8 to 10 hours a day. Probably 60% of the time I'm on my feet. I had pain in my feet. Like the second or third day after I left the store, no pain. My feet never hurt. I can stand up straight. I'm 6'1" again. My legs, I have no pain. Everything's gone. No pain. Zero pain. Unbelievable.
Visit the store at 27th and Pine Lake Road across from South Point Mall, or book your free fitting at goodfeet.com. Good Feet arch supports are proudly made in the USA. Come in and take a free test walk today.
Millions of Americans take medicine like Ozempic and Zepbound. Many of them are overpaying by thousands of dollars a year. These GLP-1 medications for diabetes, weight loss, and more may not always be covered by your insurance, but GoodRx can help. GoodRx helps you save every month on prescriptions at over 70,000 pharmacies nationwide. Best of all, it's free to use. Check GoodRx to save on GLP-1s. Just go to goodrx.com/GLP. That's goodrx.com/GLP. GoodRx is not insurance, but can be used instead of insurance, including Medicare and other federal and state-funded programs.
You're listening to Drive Time Nebraska with Doug Fitzgerald. Disagree with Doug? The guests? The topic? Call or text 402-479-1400 now to be a part of the show. KLIN weather brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Mostly clear to partly cloudy and chilly this evening, with the temperature dropping into the low 30s by midnight. After midnight, mainly clear and cold with a low in the upper 20s. Thursday, mostly sunny and mild with a high temperature in the upper 40s. From the 1011 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Brandon Rector.
KLIN Time Saver Traffic, delivered by Paisanos, Lincoln's best brick oven pizza.
On the downhill side of our drive time traffic, no new accidents or major delays. Most everyone doing a great job. A few volume slowdowns, and we do have a few construction projects. We'll want to watch for lane shifts and lane closures. Keep in mind O Street from Cotner to East Ridge, eastbound lane closure for a water main project. And work continues on West A Street, Southwest 30th to Southwest 27th. That is closed for a paving project. If you come across anything that slows you down, call the traffic hotline 402-479-1414. That's another check of your Time Saver Traffic.
Raising the roof on the issues that truly matter to Nebraskans, with the occasional net violation. You're listening to Drive Time Nebraska with Doug Fitzgerald on 1499.3 KLIN.
Well, welcome back to the show. I was planning on doing a totally different show today, but in light of the news about Jack Hoffman passing away, it's just not appropriate. I mean, it just isn't appropriate. So I'm going to pull back into the depths of previous shows and pull out one. And I'll set it up here in just a second. Eamon had just messaged in on social media. Jack leaves with us an amazing legacy of life, love, and perseverance. What an example to be left for all of us to live by. Eamon couldn't agree with that more. So I have a dear friend. Her name's Tracy Morrow. We've been friends for, oh my goodness, a long time. I don't know if anybody else knows me better than Tracy, than my wife. And we've gone through a lot together, ups and downs, highs and lows. We have been family, and more than that, success partners. We raise each other's hand. We've laughed together, cried together, been frustrated together, sometimes frustrated with each other together. And if you don't have somebody like that in your life, boy, I sure hope you get somebody like that in your life. I know it's rare. She's been, I don't know if you know who John Maxwell is, top leadership guru in the entire world. She works with him and she speaks around the world. And I seek out her advice all the time. So what I'm going to do is we did a show, I don't know, back, I don't know when it was, August, I think it was, with Tracy, talking about what happens when bad things happen. Cause I just had something happen in my life. And, so I thought I'd bring her on to be able to kind of walk us through that, to give us some good advice. So with that, Tracy's voice is very uplifting and cheerful, and I think it'll be good for all of us to hear it once again. And yeah, we'll just navigate this show in a way, hopefully, where we can walk away, being better and having hope and optimism for the future. Well, life happens, right? I mean, traumatic things happen in our lives. We all have had it happen to us, or we will if we haven't. And the question is, how do you deal with it in a healthy way? A week ago right now, I probably had the second most traumatic event in my life happen. The first was the death of my sister in a car accident. That was a long time ago, but very traumatic, 35 years ago or so. But I tell you what, I'm not going to get into details of what happened last week, but I think there's some wisdom that we can glean from this, because we're all going to deal with something, right? Jack's dealing with the hurricane. Obviously, Hurricane Helene has killed so many people, displaced so many people. Maybe it's a relationship destroyed, finances crushed, maybe you've lost a job, whatever it might be. So many ways that trauma hits. And I couldn't think of anybody better to come in and kind of walk me through this than my dear friend, Tracy Morrow, who anytime there is anything traumatic in my life, she has helped our family walk through that process. Tracy is a successful businesswoman, best-selling author, speaker, and also works with the John Maxwell organization, where she's making a tremendous impact in personal development. So Tracy, welcome back to the show. You are not a stranger.
I'm not a stranger. I am your friend. And I am so happy to be here with you. It does feel like sitting together in a living room over a cup of coffee, or, as you said, a beer.
Wyatt. We have to get that for Wyatt.
Just having a beer with Wyatt, no big deal.
No big deal. You know, when traumatic events happen, Tracy, we go through the gamut of emotions, right? Fear, anger, frustration, insecurity, regret, depression, anxiety, hopelessness. And I was trying to think all the things I was feeling over the last week, wanting to throw in the towel. And it can drive people into a severe depression. And the question is, exactly what Jack was talking about. It's like, how do you deal with the hurricane? He goes, it's all about preparation. It's all about being prepared for those moments. And I think when trauma happens, it's being prepared. And it's like what I always tell my kids: when you find yourself in a compromising situation, think about how you'd react to that before you even get into the situation.
Right.
And that's what we're doing today. And maybe you're going through something traumatic right now. Maybe this will hit you right where you are, but maybe this is a good thing to tuck away in the back of your head. So Tracy, when something does happen, kind of walk us through, what do you think is important as far as maybe a first step?
Well, the first step is the steps that you take beforehand. So I'm just going to talk to you, those of you who are not in it yet, before we get to being in it, because John Maxwell will say often that when you're talking about an opportunity, and we tend to hear opportunity and we think of a great opportunity, don't we? Opportunity has such a positive, uplifting feel to it. But there can be negative opportunities, an opportunity for like of loss, an opportunity for like to lose it all. We can lose it all in a moment. We can lose our marriage. We could lose our business. We could lose our home, our electricity, our food source, our power source, everything in a moment's notice, can't we?
Yep.
And we don't see it coming a lot of times. And so the quote that he uses is, when opportunity knocks, it's too late to prepare. And so what we can do now is the time we put into preparing our hearts, preparing our minds, and preparing for what if. So I like, when things are going wonderfully, I'm always checking with myself. Am I getting too attached to the good? Am I getting, if this were to go away, is this going to rock my world? Am I so attached to this that if this weren't here, that I lose my whole identity, that I lose my comfort, that I lose my faith? And if so, then maybe my priorities have shifted a little bit. So the preparation for a catastrophe and for an amazing opportunity, right? We prepare for growth opportunities, a business opportunity, for something incredible to happen to us by growing. And we prepare for catastrophes by growing and working on ourselves inwardly, so that when something happens, it's too late to suddenly become a person of character, to become a person who can withstand the hard, heavy storms, right? And so we've had some pretty heavy hits in our lives. And what happens now, maybe you're somebody who has had a heavy hit, like Fitz was just talking about. I call him Fitz. He's my friend from years. And you all know him as Doug. I know him as Fitz. You can call him Fitz too.
Sure.
Welcome into our friendship. The first thing I did is I shut out the outside voices. I shut out all the noise on social media. I shut out all the time wasters like TV shows and silly podcasts and things that didn't feed me. I shut out a lot of music that was silliness, and I really listened to things that grounded me in my faith and the things that truly anchored my spirit and what I truly believed was right. And I instead replaced it with things that I knew were true and would anchor me back to what I knew would last when other things weren't lasting in the moment. So blocking those things out, you're going to see people, you might see people who say you lost your marriage, or in Fitz's case, when he loses his sister, and you might see other happy families, or you see other people and their life is just going on and the world just stopped for you. And it can feel a little bit like, did God forget me? Why are these people celebrating when my whole world just came to a stop? And that's why you need to shut out the noise of the happy people and the angry people and the people who are just showing that life is continuing on, because it does, and it will again for you. And anchor yourself back to those truths. What do you know? What do you know? And do you have anchoring truths? That might be a time for you to really just get back to like, what do I know is true and good and right and healthy? What do I know about myself? What do I know about God that's going to anchor me back to, what's going to help me get through this? Because the best way through something is to go through it. So that is really one of the first things that I do and that I did.
Before we take a break here, one of the things I think I learned it from John is when something happens, take 24 hours. Like, absolutely, take 24 hours and just let it all out. Just lament, feel sad, be angry. Obviously, don't hurt somebody, but or yourself,
including yourself,
right?
Yeah.
But at least allow yourself the freedom to mourn. Allow yourself the freedom to just be mad and frustrated, and then make a defining moment of when you're going to be done with that. So then you can pivot and look towards the future. What do I need to do now for myself or my family so that it's a healthy reaction now and not a damaging reaction? Is that true? I mean, that's what I do.
No, that's exactly right. You need to, part of the human experience are those really low lows, those overwhelming like waves just crashing one on top of the other of this deep grief, betrayal, wounding, anger, maybe shame even. Not that I mean, we all know in our heads we shouldn't have shame, but all of that just can wash over us and we just feel like there's a hopelessness. Part of the human experience are all of those emotions. And so allowing yourself to feel them, knowing in your mind, this is just not going to last for forever. And I'm just going to sit in it. And I'm going to go back to those anchoring truths that I do know, and surround yourself with the people who love you and who will sit with you in it. Call a friend, call someone who you trust, who loves you, who will sit with you in it. That's what Fitz and I do. Yep. That's what Fitz and Tammy will do. That's what I do with my husband. That's what I do with my kids who I trust. Dear friends, my dear friend Tony Horton, who's a friend of this show. He's been on here before.
Yep.
Dear friends who will get on the phone with you and sit with you in your grief, who will sit and cry with you, listen to you, and let you lament in your ugliest moment and be like, I love you and I'm here for you. And it's okay. And it's okay to feel these things and know that that's part of the human experience.
All right, let's take our final break here. When we come back, I'd like to talk about maybe maintaining routines through a process like this. Yep. And also, Tracy, you reminded me of something this week about just having an abundance mindset. And I want to have you dig into that a little bit because that was very eye-opening for me. Thanks so much for listening on your drive home today. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes.
Wherever you go, stay connected to the world around you.
I get all the breaking news notifications, sports, and traffic straight to my phone on the app.
1499.3 KLIN.
Enter non-winning Nebraska Lottery Lucky Star Holiday Scratch tickets online for a chance to win a new SUV or $1,000 in cash. Top prize odds vary by game.
Does your business need quick, competitive financing for heavy machinery, trucks, or other equipment? Currency is here to help. Whether you're financing construction equipment, farm equipment, trucks, trailers, or any other big-ticket item, Currency will automatically find the best rates. Currency facilitates loans for up to $500,000 with repayment terms up to 72 months. It's fast, easy, and free to use. Visit gocurrency.com and apply today.
At Pemberley Place Senior Living here in Lincoln, our experts help you enjoy life every step of the way. Pemberley Place offers a continuum of care campus for independent living, assisted living, and memory care. Surround yourself with activity, good friends, great food, and a new outlook on life. Plus all the personalized and attentive care you deserve. For apartment availability, visit PemberleyPlace.com. That's PemberleyPlace.com, an MJ Senior Living community.
Join Mark Patrick seminars and lose the weight or stop smoking guaranteed. Early bird special only $49.99. Weight loss seminar Wednesday, January 22nd at the Holiday Inn Lincoln Southwest. Weight loss seminar 5:30. Stop smoking seminar 8. Sign up at markpatrickseminars.com.
You're listening to Drive Time Nebraska with Doug Fitzgerald. More of the show coming up on 1499.3 KLIN. KLIN weather brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Mostly clear to partly cloudy and chilly this evening, with the temperature dropping into low 30s by midnight. After midnight, mainly clear and cold with a low in the upper 20s. Thursday, mostly sunny and mild with a high temperature in the upper 40s. From the 1011 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Brandon Rector.
KLIN Time Saver Traffic, delivered by Paisanos, Lincoln's best brick oven pizza.
Wrapping up our traffic reports, no new accidents or major delays. We do have a stalled vehicle north 84th Street at Holdridge, northbound. Traffic running slow northbound 84th and Holdridge. A few volume slowdowns, and we do have a few construction projects. We'll want to watch for lane shifts and lane closures. Keep in mind, South 56th from Normal to Van Dorn, that is closed southbound for utility work. Also normal 58 to 56 westbound lane closure for utility work. Make sure the headlights are on. Keeping you moving with Time Saver Traffic. I'm Chris Lofgren.
Tackling the issues that truly matter to Nebraskans head on. With the occasional targeting call, this is Drive Time Nebraska with Doug Fitzgerald on 1499.3 KLIN.
Well, welcome back to the show. We appreciate you joining us today. We are playing clips of a previous show from my dear friend Tracy Morrow, talking about what happens when just traumatic things happen in your life. Speaking of, Jack Hoffman has passed away. I think the news got out, I don't know, but a little over an hour and a half ago or so to the mainstream. And very sad news. He lost his battle with brain cancer. The visitation for Jack will be this Friday from 5 to 8 at Emmanuel Lutheran Church in Atkinson. And then the funeral will be at Saturday at 10:30 a.m. at the Atkinson Community Center. Jack was 19. He missed his college finals for the last semester because of this reoccurrence of the cancer that came back. He was first diagnosed with brain cancer back in 2011. And that led, obviously, I don't know many people that don't know around the country, but that led to the creation of the Team Jack Foundation. A lot of, we did the Team Jack Jackathon. I think it wasn't even that long ago here. Done that on KLIN for several years. Everything that's raised in that foundation goes to pediatric brain cancer research and ending this just horrific disease that happens. So the family says that they're grateful for continued prayers and support, and they have, I know everybody's here at KLIN, you have our prayers and support as well. All right, we're going to go back to Tracy Morrow and finish up a segment here with her talking about, how do you deal with stuff like this when it's really traumatic and you're trying to make it through. All right, we're joined today by Tracy Morrow. Tracy's a successful businesswoman, dear friend, best-selling author, speaker, and works with the John Maxwell Group as well. We've been talking about how do you deal with traumatic events that happen in your life in a healthy way. So, Tracy, before we broke, there's something about an abundance mindset, and you shared this with me about experience you even had this last week with, I think it was your son-in-law that shared, kind of reminded you. What's the difference between scarcity and abundance, and how does that relate then into, when we're going through something that's really weighing heavy on us?
Well, one of the things that I had said to my son-in-law that I was sharing with you is that I just said it's just, we caught lightning in a bottle, and you just don't catch lightning in a bottle twice. And he's like, Mom, first of all, can I just say I love that my son-in-law calls me mom?
Yes.
I just love that so much. That's so dear to me. But he just said, Mom, don't say that. It will happen again for you. You need to, that's a scarcity mindset. And you need to have an abundance mindset. And he said, I don't want to hear you talk like that. It will happen again. And I thought, that's right. You know what? I talk about that all the time. And it's funny how while I talk to people about that, I coach people on that. And I do believe that in a crisis moment, what comes out of your mouth and what you speak over yourself or speak out to other people in this negative moment I said, yeah, you can't catch lightning in a bottle twice. I just made it this one-off, one moment thing instead of just the fact that it took a lot of hard work to get there. It took a lot of intentionality to get there. And I made it like it was this thing by chance. And so just by him speaking that was me going down by just my instincts to go down a negative thought pattern. And it was stopping me to say, you know what? That's right. I'm not going to look at it that way. It's a choice. How we view things very quickly becomes how we do things. Because if I believe for too long that situation in my life was catching lightning in a bottle, rather than a result of my really hard intentional work, then I'm not going to work as hard to catch lightning again, because I feel like that was a one and done. And so, but if I change my thinking, if I stop that intentionally and instead say, no, you know what, you're right. And it is possible. And I'm going to work like crazy intentionally to recreate that. Then I think I said to you, Fitz, I felt like in my jar, I felt like I had little fireflies beginning to buzz around again. And that was the visual for me that no, I am going to choose to have belief that I know how to build and do that again. And so the difference between scarcity and abundance is scarcity believes that I can't do that again, or that will never happen for me again, or that's not possible for me, or love won't come for me again, or happiness isn't meant for me, it's only for other people, or money isn't out there to be made. And instead, abundance mindset says, there is love for me. There are friendships for me. There is success for me. There is money to be made out into the world. And I have the skills or the desire to attain the skills. And there are ways for me to get those skills. And I can bring those to me by being a hard worker and intentional to seek them out and to find mentors who can help me with that. And with hard work and taking the proper steps, there becomes, John Maxwell will say, traction comes in action. The word action is even in the word traction. So by moving, then things start to come my way. And so I just feel like that is such a positive outlook in how you think actually can determine what happens in your life.
One of the things you focus on personally and with your business is working with people in their marriages. And right. Man, as you were talking about that, I was just thinking, because I've shared this openly in my book too, about, the worst night that Tammy and I had and the argument and everything that transpired after that.
That's right.
But man, in the moment, right, it feels hopeless. It feels hopeless. And this hope of what you're talking about abundance, maybe it's a marriage that dissolves. There's not anybody else out there for me, or our relationship will never get better. One thing that somebody had told me, oh my goodness, it's been like a year or two ago, is don't use words that are absolute. I'll never have this again. You never do this. It never happens that way. That's just not, those things aren't true.
That's right.
And that's part of that negativity or that scarcity mindset, which I think is really interesting. So
it also has to do with your feelings. I think it's important. I believe God gave us our feelings. It's a part of us processing. If we live too much in our head and don't connect to our heart, then we miss a whole part of the intuitive part of us, that our feelings are meant to be working in tandem with how we think. And if we cut off our head from our heart and we deal too much with our feelings, then we aren't really working logically. But if we work too logically and we get away from our heart, then we're cutting off from the feeling and true heart connection with people. But one of the things that my mom used to say and that has really stuck with me and is actually true is you can't feel your way into action. If you wait to feel till you feel like doing the right thing, till you feel like taking that first step, till you feel like getting off your couch and making some phone calls or signing up for a course or going out and recruiting somebody or picking up the phone or whatever it is, asking somebody for help, then you might be waiting the whole rest of your life and waste years and years. But you can act your way into a feeling. So I'm going to tell you something. When I've had crisis in my life, I have not felt like doing anything. I haven't necessarily felt like picking up the phone and calling somebody. I haven't felt like getting up and getting straight to work because I felt just that pit in my stomach and just a sickness and that dark cloud on your head. I'm sure that you know what I'm talking about if you've had any kind of darkness or hard thing in your life. But I acted my way into a feeling when I got up and I made a couple phone calls. And I got someone on the line who was like enthusiastic and said, like, tell me more about this. Or, yes, I've got somebody you should talk to, Tracy. Or when I was down in the dumps and Tony Horton called me and he said, hey, you know what? I'm getting on a call next week. I should talk to you about this. This might be something you're interested in, Tracy. Or somebody else said, hey, Tracy, listen to this podcast. This is what you were talking about. This might spark something. It does spark something. And just by acting before I waited till I felt like it, my feelings started to rise a little bit. It did spark something in me. It started to make me feel like doing the next thing.
Oh, so good. Great stuff. Tracy, I wish we could be on here for a whole nother hour, and we're going to have you, we'll have you back. How can people get in touch with you in case they would like to get your book and just learn more about what you do?
My book is on Amazon. It's Real Life Marriage and for Tracy Morrow. And my name is Traci. A lot of people are looking for a why, but you can also find me at tracymorrow.com. I respond always personally, so feel free to reach out.
All right, Tracy, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks
so good, and we'll have you back. All right. Well, we appreciate, obviously, Tracy coming on anytime. She's been on my One Shot, One Life show a few times as well. So we appreciate her. I think it was good timing to be able to share that. And, I've just kind of did a little pivot with the show today, and that's okay. And so I think what I'm going to do when we come back, if you want to text in or comment in on social media, we'd love that. 402-479-1400. I know Eamon did. Other people are commenting on social media as well. The Lincoln Journal-Star put out a good article about an hour ago, and I think I want to go through that. It kind of highlights Jack's story, kind of bring back some memories, some key things there, and I think it'd be good. I was encouraged when I read through it. So we'll take a break here, and when we come back, we'll go through that article. Thanks so much for listening to Drive Time Nebraska.
Living in Nebraska means severe weather is always in season. Your severe weather action team is based on 1499.3 KLIN. You're listening to Drive Time Nebraska with Doug Fitzgerald. Sports Nightly is next on 1499.3 KLIN.
Psst. You know what's better than waking up early to go to the airport? Sleeping in. Lucky for you, the lines at the Lincoln Airport are so short and our service is so fast. You won't need to sacrifice precious beauty sleep to get here hours before your flight. So, go ahead, sleep in. You deserve it, and choose the airport that helps you relax. LNK, make flying easy.
Whether fishing is your passion or your way of achieving zen, getting away to Ballard's Resorts at the Lake of the Woods for the Walleye Connection 2025 is a chance to create unforgettable memories. Expert guides lead you to the best spots and the biggest fish on a 27-foot sports craft. Cabins are fully accommodated with generous meals. Luxury coaches will drive you to Minnesota and back. It's happening July 13th through 17th at Ballard's Resort on the Lake of the Woods. Get details at klin.com.
Tune in to Retirement Compass Radio Show with Stonebridge.
Times change, your life changes, your risk tolerance changes. And so that's really where working with a professional comes into play, is to say, how do I pull this together and make it work as part of a plan? How do I make it so I can sit back, relax, and enjoy the music?
Saturdays at 8 a.m. on KLIN.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED, because millions of men experience it. Did you know that 1 in 4 people seeking treatment for ED are under 40? So you're not alone. And even better, HIMS can help. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs at up to 95% less than the brand names when you get started at hims.com/radio. It all starts with an online intake form. From there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. Through hims.com, you can access a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Millions of men experience ED, but HIMS can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio for your free online visit. HIMS.com/RADIO.
You're listening to Drive Time Nebraska with Doug Fitzgerald. More of the show coming up on 1499.3 KLIN. KLIN weather brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Mostly clear to partly cloudy and chilly this evening, with the temperature dropping into the low 30s by midnight. After midnight, mainly clear and cold with a low in the upper 20s. Thursday, mostly sunny and mild with a high temperature in the upper 40s. From the 1011 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Brandon Rector.
Draining threes on the issues that truly matter to Nebraskans, with the occasional technical or two. This is Drive Time Nebraska with Doug Fitzgerald on 1499.3 KLIN.
Well, thank you for joining us. We always appreciate your time. We've, the news cycle is going to run for a while now through the weekend in regards to Jack Hoffman. Obviously, cancer took his life, and they announced that not too long ago, a couple hours ago, publicly. So now it's on social media everywhere. So you're going to hear a lot of it. And I was trying to figure out, what do we do? I initially I had a whole nother show topic lined up right before I came in. I'm like, no, we're going to change and pivot and go down a different route. So I appreciate Tracy Morrow coming in, talking about how do you handle traumatic situations that happen in your life. If you missed that, go to our podcast, kln.com, your favorite podcast service. It's really good. You need to listen to that. Also, we want to thank our title sponsor, Lincoln Coin and Bullion, for allowing us to do what we do. They work by appointment only. So go to their website, lincolncoinandbullion.com, if you're looking at buying gold, silver, platinum, or palladium. Well, I thought what I'd do for the last few minutes of the show today is kind of skim through an article from the Journal-Star in regards to Jack. There's a lot of posts being put out on social media now. I think I read this to begin with, but it's really good. Caleb Henry, our former news director, just said, he tweeted out, you can't talk about the greatest moments in Memorial Stadium without talking about the 2013 spring game. Jack Hoffman wasn't just one of us. His fight became the state's fight, as the Team Jack Foundation became a light for countless others, an immeasurable loss. So I appreciate those words, Caleb. Thank you, my friend. Let's go through this article. It kind of gives just kind of a history of everything, and that we can kind of have. I think there's some positive moments here that can lighten our evening. Jack was a pre-law student at the University of Nebraska, Kearney, and 19 years old, by the way. Hoffman catapulted in the hearts, obviously, of sports fans in 2013 when he ran that touchdown back during the spring game, it's a great memory, right? In Memorial Stadium, 7 years old. And then it wasn't just, but like weeks to months after that, he met then President Barack Obama, won an ESPY for the best moment, I'm assuming in sports or college sports, which helped spark awareness then for pediatric brain cancer and research. At the age of 5, he was originally diagnosed with, and if I get some of these terms wrong, just forgive me, but cancerous glioma on May 12th of 2011. And after suffering his first mild seizure a few weeks earlier in April 22nd, they diagnosed him. Originally, they told him that the tumor couldn't be removed. And apparently the Hoffmans at the time then found a doctor in Boston who was able to remove most of the cancerous tissue. And leading up to Jack's second brain surgery, the Hoffmans reached out to the University of Nebraska to see if Jack could meet his favorite football player, then running back Rex Burkhead. And the initial meeting led to a lifelong friendship and a relationship with the Nebraska football team as a whole. Still did, even to this day. And it will continue on. That's the cool thing about this. Quote, to see his light and joy for life, knowing what he has been battling is just unbelievable, said Burkhead to the Journal-Star back in 2023. At that time, I think they were hoping I would give him a little strength and inspiration. I think I got just as much, if not more, from him. And as Jack's battle with brain cancer continued, his father, Andy, became incensed, like any of us would be, with how little resources were available on pediatric brain cancer, despite being a leading cause of death for children with cancer. So Andy and his wife, Bree, launched the Team Jack Foundation in 2013 out of their basement in Atkinson. And in the decade plus since, Jack's foundation has raised more than $12 million for pediatric brain research, cancer research. He's survived, obviously, by his mother, his 2 sisters. His father, Andy, died of a rare form of brain cancer, and they found out it was not genetically linked to what Jack had. It was just one of those very ironic situations, and that was back in March of 2021. And while being treated in high school, Hoffman was able to lead really a relatively normal teenage life, playing football, competing in track and field for West Holt, Atkinson West Holt. He graduated from West Holt in May of 2024, then enrolled into the University of Nebraska at Kearney in August of this past year with plans of being a lawyer like his father, Andy. I'm not treated any different than anyone else, said Jack to the Journal-Star a little over a year ago. That's lucky for someone like me. I have some friends that aren't as lucky. Sometimes the people around me make me forget I have brain cancer, which is actually really nice. The Hoffmans were told that other patients with Jack's type of tumor have shown that once they reach their 20s, their tumors would go dormant. After 4 years of stable scans, the Hoffmans were hopeful that that would be the outcome for Jack as well. But in the scans, tumors progressions showed again back in March of 2023. And so that's kind of where everything then started with them going through this again. The past 12 years, I couldn't have predicted, but you just go with it, he said. It was just like what it is. After the first 6 years of my life, I've learned to adapt pretty well. Obviously became very optimistic. Ahead of his freshman year at UNK, he was awarded the Carney Law Opportunity Scholarship, a highly competitive scholarship that not only covers tuition, but guarantees acceptance into Nebraska's College of Law, presuming the prerequisites were met as well. And at UNK, he was majoring in political science. He earned a spot on the dean's list in his one semester at the university. And there's just been an outpouring of people who have reached out to support him. And if you want to continue to support, there is a Caring Bridge account that is set up for the Hoffmans. So you might want to go there as well. Now, in the afters after his passing, statements and tributes to Jack have flooded in on social media, some of them sharing their thoughts, like Senator Deb Fisher, Congressman Mike Flood, Congressman Adrian Smith, Congressman Don Bacon, Larry the Cable Guy, several other Nebraska football players and coaches like Will Compton and Jeff Jamrog. Quote, life gone too soon, but not without making Nebraska a better place, according to a statement by Congressman Flood. Jack leaves a legacy of hope for families and kids as we keep fighting to find a cure for pediatric cancer. Quote, from his legendary touchdown during Nebraska's 2013 spring game to the work of the Team Jack Foundation, the impact he had on each of us will live on for many years to come. Our prayers are with the Hoffman family as we all grieve his loss. Again, services for Jack will be Saturday, January 18th at Atkinson Community Center. That's going to start at 10:30. And let me go back to this article here. Then visitation for Jack will be this Friday, January 17th. That will go from 5 to 8 o'clock at the Emmanuel Lutheran Church in Atkinson, Nebraska. So if you're listening, Hoffman family and friends know that we love and appreciate you, and our thoughts and prayers are with you. Only 82,000. Man, this hits home, doesn't it? Only 82,800 seconds left until we see each other again, my friends, hopefully. Seize everyone. All right. Sports Nightly's up next. Have a great night, and I'll see you on Tuesday.
From the Momo Pizzeria and